got David Marshall on with us today. He was a 7-year pro, one preseason game in the NHL versus the New Jersey Devils, playing for the Philadelphia Flyers. He also spent a lot of his time in the AHL and the ECHL. 4-year Quinnipiac alum. He currently still holds the goal scoring record when he graduated in 2009, and Marsh and I were both teammates for 3 seasons while playing there. So thanks a lot for coming on there, Marshy.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Yeah, so just from your experiences and knowledge to educate these players, parents, and coaches, transitioning from hockey to your job and your career now, what can you share?
Yeah, so currently I work at Strikeforce Orthopedics. So essentially I go into the OR and help assist doctors in foot and ankle surgery, advise them on products and stuff like that. Me and one of our classmates, so we weren't the smartest guys in our classes, but what I think why I was able to get this job is taking from what hockey taught us, coming up. And that's one of the things, like, I still want to be involved in the game. And even though I can't do it as much now, but learning from what it teaches us, right? And taking those habits, and whether, you're going to play pro or you're going to play college or D1 or D3 or wherever you're going to go, I truly think hockey itself teaches us these core values of, work ethic and preparing and knowing when the right moment's there and being able to seize it and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny is, like, when I was interviewing for my job, I think right now we have 164 people for every job open. So my manager, he kind of asked me, and he's like, why you over this job, anybody else? I'm like, he's like, you don't have the grades or the GPA that all of them have, and you don't have the experience, right? That's the number one thing as pro hockey players. The first thing we come out into the work world is, you guys don't have experience. And I looked at him and I said, what do you mean? I'm like, I have all the experience in the world. He's like, well, how do you figure? I said, I used to play in a league where someone came for my job every day. And I'm like, does someone come for your job every day? He's like, no. I'm like, you probably feel pretty comfortable where you're at right now, huh? And he's like, I mean, I feel pretty comfortable. I'm like, yeah, and where we come from, like, there's someone coming for my job every day. If I don't show up and produce, or I don't do what's right in the best interest of the team, I get sent down. They don't care. It's a business, right? So I have to fight for my job every day. And it's not that, and the fact is, like, it's not words. We can't use words to fight for it. It's only actions. So we have to be able to go out there and lead by our actions and stuff like that. And the guy looked at me, he's like, I've never had anyone flip a script on me like that, and it kind of make me look at it. So it's one of those things that, too, we talk about is confidence, and it's not being cocky or anything like that, right? You want to have this confidence in yourself. And that was the other thing I had brought up in my interview, was why Striker. Like, I had everything. Like, I came from a sport that, like, you sign on with that team, you commit to that team, right? You do everything for that team, you sacrifice for that team. And I was like, well, why is Striker my next team? What's the difference between all these other companies? Because at the end of the day, like, if you got that true confidence in yourself, like, I know it was going to be okay. Like, I was going to find a job somewhere. We talk about how hockey's such a small world, and especially as you get older and you start playing the game and you start understanding the business side of it, you start building more and more relationships, and to the fact that, like, you're having multiple. And I kind of looked at the guy and I was just like, why Striker? Like, prove Striker to me. I'm not begging for this job. I'll find a different job. I'll be confident in what I do. And the first thing came out of his mouth is, like, that's exactly what we look for. Is we look for athletes, one, and we look for guys with that mentality, that team mentality. And he kind of looked at me. He's like, dude, I can teach you all the medical stuff. Like, you'll learn the medical. He's like, but I can't teach you how you present yourself, how you work every day, and your work ethic. We work out of our house. There's no one watching me, right? So I have to go out there and produce. And it's much like I was when I was training, right? When you're in your off season training, no one's watching you. Like, and we've all trained with those guys that go half, speed until all of a sudden they see a coach in the stand, or they see some girls in the stand, or a couple, players. And then all of a sudden they're going 100 miles an hour, and you're just like, why does it take someone to be watching you? And especially in the day and age now, where with technology and everything like that, and the access to, the availability to train and stuff like that, like everyone's doing the extra work now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's got to be you on your own doing the other thing, and not just in the gym and stuff like that. But, and something I wish I would have learned earlier in my career was, learning off the ice stuff, and learning systems and understanding other people and watching, other talented guys or guys that play like you, and seeing how they do it. But, it's something I struggled with, and a lot of my teammates probably attested with that. I wish I would have learned earlier in my career. I just never picked up on it. It took me till later in my career to pick up on it. And it kind of came a little bit, as you get older in your career and you start understanding the business side of it and what's going to keep you on a team, what's not going to keep you on a team. So
that's awesome that you were able to share that with everyone. I mean, you're exactly right. Everyone gives those tips of doing things behind closed doors and no one watching. The way I like to pass it on to these players is there's always someone watching you, and it's yourself who's watching. You're proving to yourself every day how much you love the sport or whatever you're doing, and how much commitment and work ethic you're willing to do towards getting better every day, to your end goal and ultimate goal. So, just also to share, the old me as well, just making mistakes of, us growing up as kids, our parents and our families they teach us to respect, older people, and, whether it's experienced people or maybe a manager or boss. But just like what you said is, not that you weren't disrespecting the striker, doctor or guy that was hiring you, but you were able to speak up for yourself, to show that confidence in yourself that you were the guy for the job. And if they weren't going to take you, then they would have to search for someone else. And being that player, or being that, I guess you could say you're a sales guy, or what position?
Yeah, sales.
So sales guy, talking to these doctors, you have to wear that yellow jersey either on the ice for all these coaches and scouts to watch you, like you stand out with that yellow jersey, or you're that yellow jersey walking into that interview, and they're like, whoa, this guy's way different than everyone else. He's not the same. And we want this guy, and we need this guy on our team, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's tough too, because as much as we want to have these conversations and it's tough, and I hope everyone takes pointers out of it and stuff like that, but you truly don't learn these things until you've gone through it. And I think that's a sign of it, right? And an acknowledgement that, hey, I wasn't as, I could have probably stood up a little bit more when I was, a younger pro, and